I have over 30 years experience in the trenches growing my own businesses, which probably means I've done more stupid things than you've done. So I could probably help you avoid some of the stupid things that you're getting ready to do. That's the difference between listening to somebody who actually builds businesses every single day instead of somebody who just talks about it, which that's called theory, right? Or somebody who did it once, that's called luck. And there's a lot of people who get lucky in business, which is great, but I would never want to listen to those people because their path, the path that they took, is not repeatable. Otherwise, they wouldn't be one-hit wonders. Now, I actually run a portfolio of 12 successful companies, all of which I built from scratch. And that's not including the companies that I bought because they had something that I wanted that I thought would help me grow one of my portfolio companies a little bit faster, like a certain team or a software patent or great relationships that we could leverage. And it also doesn't include the small group of companies in my advisory firm called Club 28. Those are companies that I don't own any part of, but I leverage what I know to help them grow. That's a very, very small group of companies that I focus on every single week, a little bit of time every single week to help them go from the level that they're at to the next level. And if you want to know more about Club 28, just go to chrisguerrero.com. But every single time I go into a company, whether it's as an owner or an investor or an advisor, there's 5 things that I always keep my finger on the pulse of. And as long as I focus on those 5 things, growing becomes much easier. They're reach, revenue, retention, organization, and the 5th thing I'll tell you about in a moment, but I want to make sure that you know these first 4 things before we go any further. Because the number one obstacle to growth at any stage in business is distraction from one of those first 4 things. And it doesn't matter if you run a small mom and pop business or a multi-billion-dollar company, either you or your team absolutely need to track all of those 4 areas in your business. The first one is reach, like I said before, which is basically a calculation of the amount of market share a company owns compared to the amount of market share that's available in their industry. And also, how many people in your audience know about you? Meaning, if you were standing on the top of a mountain with a bullhorn shouting your marketing message, how many people would actually hear your message? That's your reach. And then the second thing is revenue, which is not just how much money a business generates. That's what most entrepreneurs think, but it's also how much of that money is profit, meaning how much of it funnels through to either invest in growing your company even more or to pay you as the owner, because I'm assuming you're not a nonprofit. You're here to grow and profit more so that you can help more people, so you can employ more people, so that you can make a bigger impact in your industry, in the lives of the people around you, and in your personal life too. That's important. The third that we talked about was retention, which is how long a customer stays with you and then keeps buying from you. And fourth is organization, which includes a bunch of things, but organization from me at least is my people, my structure, and structure means how clearly defined are the positions in your company, and does each person on your team know how to get the information that they need and who they should work with to get their job done. But it also includes systems, because everything in your company that might ever be repeated should be systematized. And the final part of organization, at least in our companies, are always our values, because having values helps you to know what decisions, big and small, fit into your plan and which ones are just plain distractions. And before I knew how to focus on these 4 things, reach, revenue, retention, and organization, my first company struggled for a decade. That was before I understood this. And then it finally got momentum after I finally figured some of this out. And then it sold for a very nice exit, because momentum is everything in business. When times are good, you press the gas harder and you grow, because most other companies, when times are good, they get comfortable and they think it's always going to be good. But when you have momentum, that's when you need to double down and push and systematize what's working and add the right people. And I didn't know that when I first started in business. So I got distracted by a lot of shiny objects, people telling me that I should run sales that didn't work, or hiring the wrong kind of team members, and taking advice from people who didn't have a strong track record of success already. So it took me more than a decade to get momentum and to grow and to become highly profitable. But because I brought on people who helped me to stay focused on reach and revenue and retention and organization, and because I systematized everything, my second company took less than 6 years, because I had that template. And my third took less than 2.5 years. And my next one took less than 18 months, all of which grew smoother than the one before it and more predictably. And they far exceeded the revenue and the profit of each of the previous companies. Because every business I build, I learn lessons that make it significantly easier to build the next one. Your goal in business has to be to learn lessons fast, then systematize things so that your team knows how to handle obstacles. Then improve those systems every single year so you grow more predictably every single year, if not every quarter or every single month. But I said before, there were 5 things that makes growth much, much easier for us. And the 5th thing has a way of crushing all the others if you miss it. After I passed, the age of 40, and I didn't have the same blind drive that you have as a younger entrepreneur, when you think, it's okay to work 16 hours a day and sleep in your parents' house and screw up all your relationships because work is your number one focus all the time. After you pass that age, again, for me, it was around 40, you need more than just those 4 things. You need mental stability, sanity, happiness, fulfillment, whatever you want to call it. You need something that drives you and something also that you enjoy as a reward so that you feel fulfilled. I'm driven by my kids. I'll do more for them, to travel with them, to spend time with them, to create memories and experiences with them than I will for almost anything else that I will in life. And I'm also driven to be healthy and to be happy and to have a certain amount of wealth and success and love in my life. I'm driven by those things. They push me to keep going farther every single day. But just as important, it's also super vital that you have things that make you feel successful and happy and healthy and fulfilled. Because there's a big difference between something that drives you forward and something that makes you feel rewarded. And I used to only allow myself to enjoy those things when I hit a certain target in business, but that mindset came close to almost burning me out. The greatest growth that you will ever have in business or in life always comes when you dip into the things that make you feel successful and fulfilled on a regular basis. And here's why. Because all humans are programmed to not want to lose something that they already have and that they love. And they'll do far more to not lose those things than they will to get more things. A couple who wants to have a baby will keep trying and trying and trying until they have one. And if they can't have one, they'll go out there and they'll pay for artificial insemination or for a surrogate or something like that. And if that doesn't work, they'll go through the long process of adopting because they truly want to have a baby. But I promise you one thing, whatever that couple is willing to go through because they want to have a baby, parents who already have a baby will do 1,000 times more things to protect the baby that they already have. If you're a parent and your child is in danger, you will find a way to protect them because you're programmed to do more to not lose something that you already have and love. In order to stay focused and driven and to keep growing in business, you need to understand how your brain works. Your greatest growth in business and in life will come when you give yourself time to enjoy the things that truly make you feel successful and fulfilled. And then set up your business to focus on the few key things that keep it growing so that you could keep enjoying what you love.